This is Ethel Howe Nannemann, and she is here to talk about some of her past growing up in Wien, in the Wien area. And I'm Marita Abner, asking her some questions. And so, when were you born, and where?
1932 at Wien, Missouri.
Okay, right there.
Back then, we was all born at home.
Uh-huh. Wonderful. And I know now, maybe skipping ahead, that there's a lovely church in Wien.
There's a beautiful church, and it was built in about 1867 or 87, something like that.
And have there been lots of changes in the church? I mean, just physically?
Just recently in this past year, someone came in and remodeled, repainted the whole inside of the church, and it's gorgeous. And it was built way back, like I said, about 1800 or so. But there were some Franciscan monks there, and they built 16 rooms onto this church, and they lived there and maintained it for quite a number of years. I've got the actual amount written down someplace, but anyway. And then back later on, then there was a school built there, and my mother was Catherine Schutz Nannemann, and she started school there, and then all her children went to school in the same school, and it's still there today, but it's not used as a school. It's used for a share and care thing, and they sent clothing and stuff like that abroad to different countries that need the things more than what we do here.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And we have a picnic once a year to help defray some of the expenses there at the church and so forth. And they have a very nice community building that all the church people built, and it's used for different occasions throughout the year. And when we have funerals, why they serve dinners to the families and things. It's very good. It's just in a little rural community. And at one time, there was only about 30 families there. And as back in those times, more people moved in. And when they got up to 80 families, that's when they enlarged and made the church bigger. But the church is gorgeous.
It really is. We were just recently there for
and
a
it's just
funeral.
Yes. And but it's a community, and at one time when we had the sisters there from Atchison, Kansas, because at first there was Franciscans, and then ones came from Atchison, Kansas, and came there. And at one time, because some children lived too far out in the country, and we didn't have means to get back and forth, and at some times there would be 23 students a semester, or maybe a time of the year, to stay from Monday through Friday, and then their parents would take them home for the weekend. And then those parents would bring in fresh meat, eggs, milk, and that stuff to those sisters, because we always had, 3 sisters there, and one that done everything, the cooking and stuff. And it's amazing what a community done. And it was all pretty much a German settlement.
Which you can still.
And I don't know what else to say, but it's been quite something. And when they built the church, the local people all donated a load of wood per family, and the bricks were all made on location there and was put on, and the walls are 2 feet wide.
Wow.
But it's there to last.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was really appreciating it when we were here recently. It's just beautiful.
And of course, we lived 3 miles from Wayne, and back then we had no communication much, so we walked to school. And then in later years, there was a bus running to pick up high school kids, and then we could ride the bus one way to school. And then when they're bringing the students back from the high school from Buckland, Missouri, but then we could ride back home. But otherwise, we walked 3 miles to school every day.
I heard.
And we all carried our lunches. And when we didn't carry the lunches, some kids, if they didn't have something fixed about it, their parents would let them go to, we had 2 grocery stores in town, and they could go get like crackers and bologna and stuff, and they could make their own meal.
Mm-hmm.
But it was unique, but I'll never forget it because they were so good to us.
The school, the teachers.
The school was very good.
Good.
The nuns were fantastic.
So you had a good training.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And maybe you just said about how many students would be there,
Oh,
or how many grades?
I imagine, I don't know, they used to kind of vary, but we had 8 grades there.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes there may be 8 or 10 maybe kids to an eighth class. Anyway, I'd say on the average from 6 to 8 at least. Maybe some years it'd be a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And then of course we had our summers off. We just went to school like normal kids,
Mm-hmm.
and we stayed at home and put out garden and everything else.
Do whatever had to be done.
Well, that's right. That's right. And then some of the later years, we even learned that the boys would learn to do woodworking,
Oh.
and they used the little coping saw. There was no power tools, just the little coping saws. And then we also had somebody that would teach crocheting and stuff like that. And some of the boys even took up crocheting. So,
Wow.
but it was pretty fantastic. And like I said, my mother went to school there,
Uh-huh.
and we all kids went to school there
Wow.
for 8 years.
Sounds like a wonderful experience altogether.
And then I had an aunt that went to Atchison, Kansas, and was a nun out there over 50 years, Sister Constancia. She was a wonderful lady.
And you also do quilting?
I quilt.
Lovely
I
quilting.
love to quilt.
Uh-huh.
And I do alterations for people. And I'm 87 years old, and I still take care of my own yard. And so for a lot of people.
Uh-huh. One thing I noticed just recently when I was in the church is, I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but it looked to me as if there was a new fan at the top of the church, and it looked sort of like the blades of those windmills that one sees now that make the energy. Do you know what I mean? It's silver,
Oh, I don't know.
and it has 3.
They've done a lot of redoing on a lot of things in there. And they said some of the gold paint, it was unreal what it cost per gallon.
Oh, wow.
But I don't really know for sure, but I think that there was a couple from the community that was pretty well off. And I'd say they are the ones that pretty well. But otherwise, when they have something needs to be done, everybody goes in and helps. Like my brother Ambrose, he and his son Paul have run the bingo thing for years.
Ah,
So now Ambrose is gone, but Paul is in there, and his son is in there helping.
great.
But everybody works together.
Sure. Yeah, we've been there for some of the meals.
Yeah, and their meals are fantastic.
Very nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my mother always brought a lot of homemade bread for every picnic. So everything was homemade mostly,
How
very
wonderful.
much.
Any closing remarks?
Oh,
You've-
I'll never forget our upbringing in the little community of Wee. I
yes,
never will.
that's wonderful.
It's fantastic.
I'm very happy to have learned about it
Well,
from
it
you.
is. And if some more of the family can come, it would be wonderful. Because Mike came and stayed with me one night, and then I took him to go see some more of my family.
Excellent.
And we all appreciated it very much.
I'm sure. Thank you so much. This
You're
is
very
wonderful.
welcome.